video about this whole the mass shootings that we've been having recently. Recently, the mass shooting at the Day Spar in Atlanta, and we just had another one in Colorado, I believe. And if people can't see that this is all a part of the agenda, this I, this is just my humble opinion. I do believe that this whole influence, mind control technology shit, this experimentation on people, along with this COVID lockdown that's creating stress and all of these other problems plays a big effect in this thing. We just have to look at the overall agenda. Now, before Biden was inaugurated and before he won the presidency, this is not a left and a right debate. This is not a conservative versus liberals of debate. But I just want to let you know, when Trump was on the run, like far wise as when him and Biden was debating far wise as, before the whole election thing kicked off. Donald Trump was really saying that Biden is coming after your guns and coming after your jobs. And it's true. It's all unfolding right in front of our eyes. Like they're creating these, what I believe to be false flag narratives to enact certain laws to take power away from the people slowly but surely. It's like they're slowly taking our rights away to the point that people really don't even realize it because they're mixing so much bad stuff in with it, with the spar shootings and things like that. They're playing on people's emotions. So it's like people are already caught up in the whole, they're still suffering emotionally from the whole mass shootings that took place. So it's like they're really attacking people at their lowest points. Why people already died and the mass shootings and stuff like that. People don't really have time to sit back, reflect, and think about their rights being taken and what's the agenda behind this and where this is going to lead. Well, I'm telling you right now, it's happening. Biden just recently said that he want to put a ban on assault rifles. So before we know it, civilians are not going to be able to own guns. At the rate that it's going, civilians are not going to be able to arm themselves. So they're slowly taking our right to bear arms with false flags. Just think about it now. So civilians are not, after a while, we're not going to be able to protect ourselves. I forgot what country it is. If anyone know and remembers what country it is, but it's a country who just recently banned weapons like firearms, and the crime didn't stop. What people started using, I believe it was Hong Kong or China, something like that. Now, what happened was these people started using crossbows. So crime has increased with crossbows. Now they want to take the crossbows from them as well. So really, you're not going to be able to defend yourself at all if something ever was to go on. First, we're given the right to bear arms, and now they're slowly taking them away. Nobody hollers, take the guns away from the officers when they're out here killing regular civilians. You know, I don't hear anybody saying that because we all know that it's a dumb idea. How would the cops protect and serve? The good ones, that is, anyway, who's really trying to protect and serve, if they don't have firearms? And that's the same thing with us civilians. How are we able to protect ourselves if they're slowly taking away our gun rights? Now, let's dive into this article. Biden administration urges Supreme Court to let cops enter homes and seize guns without a warrant. As you can see, this article is a day old. The U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday will hear, and that's today. Wednesday is today. So this is going on today. The U.S. Supreme Court on Wednesday will hear oral argument in Cagnelia versus Storm. Excuse me if I butched that. A case that could have sweeping consequences for for policing due for policing, due process, and mental health with the Biden administration and attorneys generals from 9 states, urging the High Court to uphold warrantless gun confiscation, but what would ultimately become a major Fourth Amendment case began with an elderly couple spat over a coffee mug. In August 2015, 68-year-old Edward Canaglia joked to Kim, his wife of 22 years, that he didn't use a certain coffee mug after his brother-in-law had used it because he might catch a case of dishonesty. That quip quickly spiraled into an hour-long argument. Growing exhausted from the bickering, Edward stormed into his bedroom, grabbed an unloaded handgun, and put it on the kitchen table in front of his wife. With a flair for the dramatic, he then asked, "Why don't you just shoot me and get me out of my misery?" Perhaps unsurprisingly, the tactic backfired and the two continued to argue. Eventually, Edward took a drive to cool off, but when he returned, their argument flared up once again. This time, Kim decided to leave the house and spend the night at a motel. The next day, Kim phoned home, no answer. Worried, she called the police in Cranston, Rhode Island, and asked them to perform a well check on her husband to escort her home. When they arrived, officers spoke with Edward on the back deck. According to an incident report, he seemed normal, was calm for the most part, and even said he would never commit suicide. However, none of the officers had asked Edward any questions about the factors relating to the risk of suicide, risk of violence, or prior misuse of firearms. Edward had no criminal record and no history of violence or self-harm. In fact, one of the officers later admitted he did not consult any specific psychological or psychiatric criteria or medical professionals for his decisions that day. And it just continued. I'm not going to read all this, but the article just continued to tell the mishaps between this guy, Mr. Edward, and his wife and brother-in-law, I think, or whatever, or whatnot. So, based on this alone, you have to understand. Now, this incident took place in August of 2015. Now, this is the case that they're citing, that they're speaking on in order to urge the Supreme Court to let cops enter homes and seize guns without a warrant. Yeah, because cops is the most honest humans in the world, right? So basically, if they were to pass this, then a cop could basically say anything just to come in your house and confiscate your firearms. Not saying that a cop will, not saying that they won't. But say, for instance, if I'm a cop and I just want to impress my higher ups or my boss or whatever or whatnot, we get called to a domestic violence situation or whatever or whatnot. Instead of diffusing it, I provoke him, or, I automatically side with the women, and I don't want to hear his side at all. So if, say for instance, if I wanted to say that this guy was acting irrational or unstable, then that was my reason for being able to enter his home and confiscate his guns. It's like fruit from the poisonous tree, if you understand what I'm saying. So everything right now is turning warrantless. Back in 2012, I believe it was. Don't quote me on the year, but when they signed the warrantless taps. So that back then they made it so that they no longer have to go wake a judge up in order to get a search warrant to tap your phones. They could just tap them without a warrant. So I'm saying this to say this. People have to be vigilant far as the things that's transpiring. It's like everything is really connected. And it's like people are so blind that they don't see the overall picture, the bigger scheme of things. The bigger scheme of things. Now, this article, like I said, was published yesterday. And yesterday was the same day that Biden issued a statement saying that he want to put a ban on assault weapons. So they're compiling all of these isolated incidents and putting them all into one. Like I said, just simply to slowly but surely take our rights away. Now, this brings me to this quote right here. It said the best way to take control over a people and control them utterly is to take a little of their freedom at a time, to erode rights by 1,000 tiny and almost imperceptible reductions. In this way, the people will not see those rights and freedoms being removed until past the point at which these changes cannot be reversed. That's true. And people are not aware that this is going on and it's happening right in their face. When the whole Zetzer, if I'm saying that right thing, took place in Stasi Germany and Nazi Stasi Germany, this is exactly how it was rolling out. They slowly were taking rights away one at a time, and the people did not realize that until it was too late. It's the same thing going on over there in Hong Kong, China, and Tokyo, Japan, or whatever. Right now, this very moment, people have to wake up. This is not a black or a white thing, Asian thing. This is not a political thing. This is not a you're on the right, you're on the left, you're a Joe Biden or you're a Team Trump. Look, let's just be honest. All of these people rub elbows together. They work together. I don't classify none of them as good people. And I could be wrong. But I honestly don't think that neither one of these people high up in power really care about the people. I don't think that they do. They're all working for the same goal, working for the same team. And until we, the people, realize that, we're going to continue to lose. They're going to continue to have their way. They're going to continue to keep us at odds with each other. They're going to continue these false flag narratives. They're going to continue to control the narrative. They're going to continue everything. Absolute power breeds absolute corruption. We, the people, need to wake up. Really. We really need to wake up. We need to set our differences aside, our political views aside, the color of our skins aside. If we are all on the same team and we're against the injustice going on around the world, the best thing for us to do as a people is to unite. Now, this has been going on for years for our as people, like trying to unite the people and wake them up. All people from all races and ethnical backgrounds have preached the same thing. And it's so repetitive and it's so crazy that people are not, after all this time, people are still not getting it. People would seriously defend the very system that's designed against us. That's like Stockholm Syndrome, taking up for your oppressor or your captive. We got to do better. We really need to wake up, and people really need to start questioning things.